As you know, forward facing sonar is a huge part of fishing now, whether you crappie fish, bass fish, whatever. But competitively, man, it is just, it's a huge player. And so we have to have techniques and baits now that we can be effective with forward facing sonar. And there's lots. You know, I like a drop shot. I like just a jig head with a baby Z2 on it, vertical bait. But two of my favorite, I would have to say, the most popular for me would have to be a little Swimbait, because I can work it in the entire water column. And so when fish are active or I'm searching, we see these fish out there, whether they're singles or a big school of them, and we need to know what kind of mood they're in. And a Swimbait just does that for me. You throw it past them, bring it through them. I like to stay kind of right over the top of them. And if they eat it, man, a Swimbait, one hook right there, I mean, you got them. And it's just a bait that you can catch them fast and be real effective. You got to wait getting it down there. And so the Strike King Rage Swimmer 325, 375, you can throw smaller if you got smaller forage, and even the bigger one if you're around like big gizzard shad and bluegill and stuff like that. But I really like the 325 size. 1/4 ounce ball head, quarter, 5/16, 3/8, somewhere around there is kind of a staple for me. 12-pound fluorocarbon. Just throw it out there, find out what kind of mood they're in. If they're really aggressive, the Rage Swimmer is my bait of choice. I just threw the Rage Swimmer out there. We're just gonna check his attitude. See, here's my bait coming up. We're coming right over him, over the top of him here in just a second. And I want to keep that bait right above him. Now that fish did not even budge. More than likely that fish is just not in a good mood, and he's not eating. I don't want to eat a lot of times. I don't want anybody force food down me, so I'll just go on to the next. You can just move, find an active one. That live will just bam, right when he gets in there. Let's say the water's really cold, or these smallmouth are kind of, they're chasing it up, the Rage Swimmer, and not hitting it, going down on a drop shot, not really eating it. Something that you can do to trigger those fish a lot of times is keeping a bait right above their eyes, kind of suspended. And that's where I like the KVD jerkbait. We got it in 100, 200, 300, and the 300 deep. Has a really good wobbling and side to side flash. Got really good colors and all that. One of my favorite is this crystal shad right here. I've got this tied on most of the time. But this jerkbait, I can get it down to, again, we have a deep that'll get down in that 10, 11 foot range. But I like getting this bait down there to them and just letting it sit there right above their eyes. Just every now and then twitching it. And sometimes that can really make those fish that are going down on a drop shot or whatever, or the Rage Swimmer just running up there, kind of nipping at it and going back down, something just kind of soaking, sitting there. This is one of the few baits that will stay there. It won't move. You know, it's kind of like if you're throwing a KVD splash out on the flat, and every now and then you bloop, bloop, and then you just let it sit there, and that's where you'll get your bite, or a frog bite. It's the same way with the jerkbait. It's a couple of twitches and then just let it sit there, especially in the winter time. Get that bait down there where those cold fish are suspended next to a piece of timber or on a drop or out suspended over by near bait. Twitch, twitch, get it down about a foot above their eyes and just let it sit there. That'll trigger you a fish a lot of times. So again, I like lots of different techniques, but these two are two of my favorite.